Okay, I want to welcome everybody to this evening's webinar. I got a lot of exciting information that I want to share with you. My name is J.R. Fenwick, and I am the founder and CEO of Flip That Stock and Hold That Stock. And I want to ask you a question right out the gate. Like, why did you take time out of your Sunday evening when you could be doing anything? Why did you take time to attend this webinar today? I want you to just think about that. Even write it down if you have a pen and paper. And we're gonna get back to that in just a minute. But as we move along, I want to tell you just a little bit about myself. Anytime that I go to see somebody speak, I always like to kind of know, who they are. How did they end up where they are? Okay, so get this going here. I grew up in Ohio, Toledo, Ohio. Went to high school there, grade school there. From there, I went on to attend and graduate from Harvard University with a degree in finance. And then I went on and I received an MBA from Princeton. I went on and received a PhD from Yale. And then I worked on Wall Street as a hedge fund manager for 25 years. And also, all of that is a big fat lie. But the funny part about all this is that that's what they make us think we have to do in order to be involved with the stock market. We think you got to go to Harvard, you got to go to Yale, you got to go to Princeton, you got to get all these degrees, and all this is nonsense. And so the only part of this that's true is that I did grow up in Toledo, Ohio. So let me tell you the real deal about myself, okay? In just a few minutes, I did, like I said, grow up in Toledo, Ohio. At a very young age of about 10, had a paper route and a lawn cutting service. And that's important for you guys to know because it did something to me at a very young age. I became an entrepreneur, not even knowing I was an entrepreneur at a very young age. Couldn't even remember asking my parents for money because I just go out and, cut some grass and do my paper route. I just needed them to take me to the store to get what I wanted. From there, I went on to Hampton University, and I graduated with a very unique degree, a nursing pre-med degree. Father was a doctor, mother was a nurse. Father encouraged me to get this nursing pre-med degree and then go on to medical or dental school. A funny thing happened along the way. I had no interest in going on to medical school or dental school. So I worked as an RN in the hospital for a year. And then what I did was I went into corporate America. And I started working for a pharmaceutical company as a pharmaceutical sales rep. I heard about pharmaceutical sales reps, didn't really know what they were, but once I found out, hey, they get, paid all this money and get a company car, an expense account and all that, I said, hey, I can do that. So I went into corporate America, and some things became apparent to me very quickly. Some of you may be familiar with a gentleman by the name of Robert Kiyosaki and the cash flow quadrants. And there's a book out called Cash Flow Quadrants. And I want to take you through my experience in corporate America and in life going through these cash flow quadrants. And you might want to write this down and ask yourself, where you are in these cash flow quadrants. This is all going to tie into our topic of the night, how to make money flipping stocks and how does the stock market work. So I started off as, they have these 4 quadrants: an employee, self-employed, business owner, and investor. And so the first quadrant that I went in, which most people go in, is an employee. So when I started off, I got this job as a pharmaceutical sales rep. They gave great training. Before I left there, I generated over $25 million in sales. And the next thing you know, managers start breathing down your neck, treating you like a child. The compensation compared to the revenues you're generating is kind of low. And so I left this company. I went to a medical equipment company, became top in sales in the country, got laid off. Now, some of you may be able to, who are in corporate America or just in jobs in general, may be able to relate to this stuff I'm talking to you about. So for those who are just joining us, we're talking about the cash flow quadrants. Then I went to a biotech company, was blowing it out the water, got a new manager. I couldn't take it. I left. Then I went to a diagnostic company and signed I was working on an account where I signed a $1 million deal with this account to bring all this money to the company, and they rewarded me by laying me off. Went to another company, was tops in sales, got another new manager, couldn't take it, left, and then went to a third company, and I was like, that's it, I'm done. I can't do this employee quadrant anymore. I'm officially retiring from being someone else's employee and making them rich. So the bottom line is these companies controlled my money and my time, which meant they controlled my life. That just is what it is. There's no getting around it. So here's an interesting question. I'm going to throw some stuff at you guys just to think about as we go along. For those who love pizza or like pizza, I love pizza. And the question becomes, would you ever put something on your pizza that you don't like? Nobody does that. They design the pizza the way they want it, right? So it's interesting that people spend more time designing a pizza than they do their life. If we don't like anchovies on our pizza, which I don't like, I pluck the anchovies off or don't put them on there. If we get a pizza that has something on it that we don't like, we go back and make a big stink. Why didn't you make my pizza right? But when we have something in our life that we don't like, do we pluck it off like we do with a pizza? Just food for thought. So along my journey, I went from the employee to the self-employed. Actually, I was doing them simultaneously. And I said, I'm going to design my life like a pizza. I'm going to put in it what I want. I'm going to take my passions and I'm going to figure out a way to make some money. So I had been playing guitar since I was about 7 or 8 years old. And one of my dreams was always to play at Showtime at the Apollo. And this is a picture of me on Showtime at the Apollo. If you go to YouTube, you can Google my name and it'll come up and you'll see the video. But I said, I'm going to take this passion and I'm going to open up a studio, which I did. And from there, I started making money on this little studio. Now, I'm doing these both simultaneously, working on my job, working my passions. I started making money from my studio, a lot of money. And it felt so good, I said, okay, I'm going to take my other passions, like martial arts. And I created a little self-defense course and a video, started doing that, started making money, again, simultaneously as an employee. Then I started trying all these home-based businesses, network marketing, all kinds of things. I was like, the feeling is so good to do what you love and make money. It was just incredible. Then I started a company called Getting the Word Out Enterprises, a marketing company that specialized in healthcare marketing, since that's what I had all this training in. And within a year, I was making a high six figures, and I was the boss. And it was just no better feeling than this. So I'm still doing these simultaneously, but I started making more money, or equal amount of money off my passions as I was my corporate job. So eventually I decided to quit, and I wanted people to experience how good it felt to be your own boss and do what you love. So I went and I wrote this book, or I should say recorded this audio book, How I Quit My $100,000 a Year Job. Well, none of this was planned, but I started receiving invitations to speak at entrepreneurs conferences, do radio interviews, newspaper interviews, and the next thing you know, these articles started coming out. This one in the Washington Post, don't let your boss see you reading this. A rat race rebel, a buoy entrepreneur offers advice to people who are tired of the daily grind. Then another one came out, Big Wad of Cash, talking about when I went in the store and threw a bunch of cash down to buy all the studio equipment to build my studio. Another one, want to quit your job, Buoy Man shows the way. And then I had this idea that I wanted to launch my own TV show, like Arsenio Hall, but it was for entrepreneurs. So I did all this, and I became known as this guy. Hey, if you want to take your passions and turn them into profits, I was, this guy. Then I went on from the employee to the self-employed to the business owner quadrant, and I started to flip that stock and hold that stock. And everybody who's listening needs to own a business and be in the stock market. We'll talk about that later, okay? And then I went into the I quadrant, where I became a trader and an investor. So I went from the employee to self-employed to business owner to investor. And I'm still in these two quadrants, okay? So now I get asked to speak all over the country at top conferences and radio shows and TV shows, a power networking conference, a national sales network conference, internet conferences, a big conference called the How To Conference. Articles have been coming out, modern day millionaire conference in New York, radio interviews. So I show you all of this stuff not to brag, but, to say, hey, I've done, one or two things. I want you to understand who the person is that you're listening to. Because there's so many people out here saying they're doing this, that, and the other. And so I said, well, hey, let me just give you guys some proof of some of the things I've done. One of the greatest awards I've received and proudest of is the Community Life Changers Award, where I got this award for helping people get started and understand the stock market and help change their lives. So the question becomes, James, you did all this stuff. How did you get in the stock market? You didn't even mention anything about, you had a passion for the stock market, because I didn't. I didn't know anything about the stock market, had no interest in the stock market. But along the way, it's crazy how things happen. I was building my studio up, looking for a unique piece of keyboard, a unique piece of studio equipment, this keyboard. And I saw an advertisement in a newspaper, and I met this guy named Jeff Alexander who was selling this keyboard. We become the best of friends. And literally 2 years after we meet, out of the clear blue sky, Jeff asked me, do you trade in the stock market? I was like, no, I don't trade in the stock market, and I don't know anything about the stock market, and I'm not interested in the stock market. I got all this other stuff. I'm doing my passions, man. My passions are blowing up. And so Jeff just stayed on me for 2 years. He said, you got your passions, you got these little businesses, right? I was like, yeah. He said, you're a businessman, right? I was like, yeah. He said, you can't be no real businessman, and you don't know how the stock market works. Everything goes through the stock market. And he just stayed on me and on me and on me. And it was wearing me down. I knew what he was saying was true. And he just wore me down until one day we're going to a Super Bowl party. And before we leave, he came to my house. He was going to ride with me. He drops off these 2 big envelopes, and he says, open them. And I opened them, and there was these look like bank statements in there. When you look at a bank statement, you don't have to read every line. You just, boom, go to the bottom, see what the balance is. Well, his balance was over $1 million, and it was his stock portfolio. And that was it. I was done. He was like, looked me straight in the face and said, you want to learn now? So after a 2-year beat down and just saying, you got to learn this, you got to learn. Then he shows me this. We go to the Super Bowl party, and all I could think of is, I'm going to learn this stock market. I am going to learn this thing. So Jeff said he was going to start teaching me in a couple of weeks. So he begins to teach me. And then one night I couldn't sleep. Literally like 4 o'clock in the morning, I get up and I turn on the TV and I make a sandwich. And, we know what comes on at 4 in the morning, infomercials. So as fate would have it, this is right after Jeff said he was going to start teaching me. There's this infomercial about the stock market, this free stock market seminar coming to town. Now, I knew when they said free, I knew they were going to try and sell me something. I was okay with that because I just wanted to see what they had and what I could learn. So I go to this free stock market seminar, and within 20 minutes of this guy talking, it was a 2-hour seminar, within 20 minutes, I'm thinking this dude can sit down and shut up because I'm buying everything he got because I knew he was telling the truth based on what Jeff taught me. So I did have an advantage of Jeff being my mentor and coach. That's going to play an important role as we continue on. So I bought this software. It had red light, green light, yellow lights, kind of tell you when to buy, when to sell, when to hold. And I paid about $3,000 for this software, and this is back probably about 15 years ago, and $129 a month to have the stock quotes come into the software. It's kind of like a TV and cable, bringing your TV channels in. So you had to have both. So $3,000 plus $129 a month. In my first 30 days, I made about $3,400. So I covered the cost of the software. And not rich, not, oh man, I'm, 3.4 million, but I knew it worked. I knew it worked for me. And I wanted to continue on. So what I did was, one day I bought a stock right when the stock market first opened. And 6 minutes after I bought that stock, the stock went up $1,000. Blew my mind. I made $1,000 in 6 minutes from my laptop, sitting at home in a robe at my kitchen table. And to be honest with you, I didn't know why that stock went up like that. All I know is I saw that thing shoot up in front of me, and I sold it, and I took my $1,000. And then I said, I want to do this again. I became obsessed with trying to figure out why do some stocks increase in value so quickly, like the stock that I made, $1,000 in 6 minutes. And so I began tracking every stock that I would buy and sell and the times that I bought them and how long it took to make a profit. And then I did what highly successful people do. The company that I bought this software from, the stock market software from that I mentioned earlier, called me. They said, "How are things going?" I said, "Hey, things are going great. I'm loving it." They said, "Well, how would you like a personal coach?" I was like, "Great. Tell me about it." Well, we have this starter package. It's $4,500, and our top package is $17,500. This was about 15, 16 years ago. And back then, there wasn't like this big web, screen sharing and webinar and all. That wasn't big back then. So I got the $4,500 package, and I got 8 45-minute sessions. 8, not 80, but 8. So every Friday between 3 and 3:45, this guy would call me on the phone. He sent me a workbook, and he said, "Okay, on page 33, we're going to go through this and blah, blah, blah." $4,500 for 8 sessions, all right, plus the $3,000 for the software, plus $129 a month. Now, some people would be looking at me like I'm crazy. It was the best money I invested in myself, not spent or cost me, but invested in myself when I got this guy as a coach and a mentor. In those 8 sessions, he taught me so much. And then what Jeff was teaching me was incredible. And so I found out highly successful people, that's what they do. They get a coach and a mentor. So today, for just a short period of time, I like to be your coach and a mentor. All right. And I like to pull the curtain back on my incredible journey into the stock market. And hopefully you'll learn some things that you might not have already known and see if this is something that you might be interested in. But first, really, why are we even discussing the stock market? Right? Why are we looking at this? Well, hey, CNBC said the stock market is America's great wealth equalizer. Half of Americans avoid the stock market, shouts a CNBC headline highlighting a new study. It's sad, really, because those who aren't in it are much poorer as a result. And it's a big reason for the so-called wealth gap. This isn't J.R. Fenwick saying this, all right? This is what the experts are saying. So when I look at, how does a person make money and really people say they want to become wealthy, hey, just do what the wealthy do, right? So a lot of people don't get in the stock market, though, because they believe these myths. So out the gate, let's bust these myths. Number one, you have to be wealthy to get in the stock market. That's a myth. You do not have to be wealthy to get started in the stock market. Number two, you have to have a degree, a certificate, a license. Remember, I started this session off saying I went to Harvard and Yale and Princeton and all that, and then said, "Oh, that was a lie." I was just pulling you guys' leg to hammer home the point. That's what people think that you have to do to get involved in the stock market. It's not true. It's just too complicated. I'm going to prove to you how simple the stock market is when you have the right person, the right coach, the right mentor teaching you it. You have to do hours of research. Man, this is nonsense, because technology has become our best friend. With a click of a button, when you know which button to click and where to look, the information you can get in a matter of seconds. Oh, this is gambling. I hear this a lot. It's just gambling. Well, if 93% of wealthy people are involved in the stock market in one way, shape or form, what are they, just addicted gamblers or something? Or maybe they don't know something that, or maybe they know something that we don't know. Okay? Gambling, you got no control over them dice. When you're trading and investing, you have control when you know what you're doing. You have to have a full service broker. I can't do that. I got to give this to a broker. No, you don't. Matter of fact, if you give your money to a broker and they lose some of your money or all your money, then you just became broker, and you paid twice, because you paid them and you paid them to lose your money. All right. And number 7, you have to have a financial plan. No, you really don't. So I'm going to take it very basic, and then we're going to build off of this. Like I said, we're going to pack a lot in here. So if this is too basic for you, just hang with us, and you'll see how we progress along. All right. But I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. So what is a stock? A stock is just an easy way. They call it the lazy man's way to get ownership in a company, right? See, why would a company sell ownership? A company needs to raise money So they divide their company up into tiny pieces. Say they want to raise $100 million, and they divide their company up into 100 million pieces, and they say, okay, we're going to offer 100 million shares at $1 a piece. And they're looking to raise $100 million so they can build a factory or do marketing or whatever they need the money for. And these pieces are called shares. So this is the lazy man's way of getting ownership in a company, because you don't have to build it. You don't have to hire, fire, do accounting, bill collecting, product developing, marketing, all that. You just find the companies you like and go and buy pieces of shares of it, okay? Now, what is a stock market? Just like you may have a flea market or a store where you can go and buy everything in one place, that's what the stock market is. It's a place where people go to buy and sell shares of stock. Otherwise, you might have to be putting ads in papers or walking around with, signs saying, I want to buy so many shares of stock I want to sell. Do you want to buy that? No, this is a centralized place, okay, where people go to buy and sell shares of stock. Now, this is a key question. I speak all over the country to thousands of people, and I had a seminar yesterday, and out of those thousands, we're up to 7 now. 7 people who accurately told me what time the stock market opens and closes. The interesting thing is, when I ask the room, how many people in here shop? And I say, what's your favorite store that you shop at? And they tell me, and I say, what hours are they open? They can tell me that on Monday through Friday, it's open from this to this. On the weekends, it's open from this. And during the holiday season, it's open. But they can't even tell me when the stock market is open. And the stores that they shop at are selling products from companies that are listed on the stock market that they could be getting ownership in. Think about that. So the stock market opens Monday through Friday from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Those are the standard hours, regular hours. This is Eastern Standard Time. Now, they do have pre-market hours, which are from 7 a.m. typically to 9:30, and extended hours, which are from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. But these carry different rules and regulations to buy and sell stocks. So, but just in general, when somebody says, what time does the market open? What time does that stock market store open? It's 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard. Make adjustments for your time zone. Let's talk about what a broker is. A broker is nothing more than a middleman who facilitates transactions between buyers and sellers and gets paid a commission. So if this person says, I want to buy 500 shares, this person says, I have 500 shares I want to sell, then the broker is the person in the middle who facilitates hooking these two people up, and each person will pay the broker about $5 to $10 per transaction when they're buying and selling. That's all it is a middle person. So now we know what a stock is, all right? We know what the hours are, we know what the stock exchange is, and we know what a broker is, okay? And there's many brokers out here. You've probably heard of Charles Schwab, E-Trade, Fidelity, Capital One, TD Ameritrade, Scottrade. There's hundreds of them out there, actually. And these aren't brokers we're recommending or anything. I'm just sharing just some that you may have heard. But the interesting thing is, it's not just that simple to just go say, I'm just going to open up a brokerage account. I mean, you can do that, but there's a lot more to it. What are their commissions that they charge? Do they have banking services? What are their platforms, which is a fancy word for the software they use to buy and sell? What are their platform fees? Do they have physical branches, customer service? What are their interest rates? Do they have monthly maintenance fees? What is the amount needed to open an account? What is the ease of use? Can you short a stock, which we'll talk about a little bit later? And do they have apps? All of these play a role. So, it's a lot more to it than people really understand. You got to be educated on this, okay? But in general, that's what a broker is. Now, once you get these shares of ownership in a company, there's a couple things that you can do with them. One is you can trade them or flip them, all right? And that simply is buying and selling shares of a stock over a short period of time. So you buy it and you may sell it a month or a couple months later, or weeks, days, hours, minutes, even seconds, to generate what we call right now money. See, a lot of people think, well, I thought there was a law that once you bought a stock, shares of stock, you have to hold it for. No, there's no law that says. I mean, you'll see in a demonstration in a couple minutes. But no, there's no law that you have to hold a stock for any certain amount of time. The other thing about when you trade and flip stocks is you can make money when the stock goes up in price. We all heard of buy low, sell high. But you can also make money when the price goes down. And it's a technique called shorting. This is something that is done on Wall Street that very few people know about. So when you hear the stock on the news, oh my God, the stock market is crashing and this and that, you best believe that people behind the curtain on Wall Street and people like myself who specialize in shorting stocks are saying crash, baby, crash, because we're making money as that stock short. So we as traders and flippers can make money in both directions. Okay, kind of like playing tennis and you got both hands you can use versus playing tennis with just one hand. Now, investing or holding stocks is where you're buying and you're holding that stock for a longer period of time, a year or longer. Kind of like when you buy a house and you're looking for the equity to grow in your house. You buy low with the goal and intention to sell high. Okay, but people who are investors aren't shorting stocks. I just know how to buy and hold. All right, we do both. We know how to do both, and you can do both if you wish. Let me get into flipping stocks just a little bit more. All right, because it's really interesting. Every day in the stock market, there are stocks that have these wild swings. They're very volatile. Shoot up, come down, shoot up, come down. And so what we do as stock flippers is we take advantage of that. We might get in here. It shoots up here. We get out. We get the money. We might get in here. Remember, I told you can make money when the stock goes down. When it goes down here, we grab it and get out. So we do this in a very short period of time, usually an hour or less a day from our laptop. All right. So that's the general concept of flipping stocks. Now, let me show you a real stock flip. I have a special software that can record my trades and things like that. And I got into this because I actually got it from the NFL. You know how the players, well, nowadays they have iPads and they can go on Monday morning and the rest of the week and look at their recordings of how they played. So I said, I'll start doing the same thing. Now, before I show you this, I want you to think, most people who are probably on this call have a car or have ridden in a car, all right, and they have this dashboard. And the dashboard has all these blinking lights and flashing lights coming at them. Now, I want you to think about this, all right. If somebody gave you a nice car that had, or was going to sell you a nice car, but it had all these blinking lights on the dashboard, would you say, I don't want it. It has too many blinking lights. It scares me, right? Well, I'm going to show you our dashboard. It's going to have a lot of blinking lights, just like the dashboard on your car. But some people, for some reason, get scared of these blinking lights. The interesting part is that these blinking lights and this dashboard on this car costs you money when you buy a car. This is my dashboard, and these blinking lights can make you money and even potentially make you enough money to buy the car. So if I got to learn a dashboard and some blinking lights, I want to learn this. All right, so I show all that to say, don't get intimidated by this. It is not as complicated as it may look. So what I want people to just focus on is right here. This is like a red, they call it a candle. That means stock is going down. A green candle means the stock is going up. Over here, we have PL open, PL day. That just simply says profit loss. All right, it's going to tell you if you're making money or losing money. Ain't nothing hard about that, and there's nothing hard about these candles. Green going down, red means stock going down. Green means it's going up. So this is a video where I flipped the stock, and remember I said you don't have to hold a stock for months and years and all that if you don't want to. I held this stock for 47 seconds, and let's see what happens. All right, click play here. Right out the gate when the stock market opens, which is this dark blue area, the stock starts shooting up. And you can see here, the money starts going up. And it happens just like this. All right, literally it happens just like this. I'm meaning that the tracking mechanism. When you are flipping a stock or even investing in a stock, you'll see this happening. As long as you are in that stock, it's happening. Then I have a little red line up here. It's kind of faint. You might be able to see it. But I said, hey, if this stock hits that, cash me out. Give me the money. I already preset it that if it hits this, that's a $500 profit. But likewise, I have protection down here. Okay, you see, boom, it hit that line up there, cash me out for $500.04. in 47 seconds. But I had a red line down here that said, hey, if this stock doesn't do what I want it to do, and it's not going to do what you want it to do every single time, and let me say right now, anybody, let me repeat this, anybody who tells you they have a system where you will never, ever lose money is lying. Okay? They're lying to you. There is no such system out there. All right? Because if there was, they wouldn't be telling you about it. All right? So you hear all this kind of stuff out here. People who know me know I'm a straight shooter. I'm showing you the potential. And I teach people when you do this, you got to do it the right way. So we had our goal. It hit our goal. But then we had a line here to protect us in case it didn't do what we wanted it to do. Okay? Now, also, remember I said you can make money when a stock goes down. And when it goes down, we call that shorting a stock. All right. And here's an interesting thing. Have you ever heard anyone on the news say, oh, the stock, the stock is going down. What an incredible opportunity to make money. You hear on the news, oh, my God, the stock market is crashing, blah, blah, blah. But do they ever say, what an incredible opportunity to make money? No, because they don't want the general public to know. This is what the big boys on Wall Street do, and those like myself and people who are Flip That Stock members and who are really into this know behind the curtains we're doing. Okay? Now, let me give you another example. All right? Here's an example, another real stock flip where I made $500 this time in 4 seconds. Now, I got to tell you, I've never made money this quick ever in my life, and I've never duplicated this 500 in 4 seconds. And to be quite honest with you, had I not had my recorder on recording this, I wouldn't even believe this thing myself, because the stock came out and it shot down so fast. And you see my marker here, all right? Now, when you want to make money when the stock goes down, this is kind of your take profit line right here. And this is your protection line, because we don't want the stock going up. We want it going down. So let me play this. And let's see, okay. And watch this thing right here, just bam, just shot straight down. And people may be saying, well, how did you find this stock? How did you, learn all this stuff? We're going to get to that. But I want you to understand, just as quickly as I made that money, I could have lost it if I didn't know what I was doing. You see, there's a certain way that you enter orders and put together a game plan to buy and sell stocks, depending on if you're trading or investing. And if you enter the wrong order, you can go from very excited, like my man Homer here, to depression and crying. And so, people get so excited. Oh, I saw you make that money, and they don't want to take the time to go through the 3 phases: learning, practice, do. Learning, practice, do. You don't just skip straight to the doing and making the money. All right, very, very important. All right, let's talk about, you might have heard, it's a bear market, it's a bull market. What does all that mean? What do some animals have to do with the stock market? And just as an FYI, they call it a bull market because when a bull attacks, he rears his head down and then goes up. And so when the stock market's going up, they call it a bull market. Likewise, if a bear is attacking, it, rears up on its hind legs and comes down on you. So if the overall market is going down, they call it a bear market. Pretty simple concept. And I don't know why they didn't use 2 other animals, but it is what it is. All right. So what are some things that can influence the market to go up and down? Well, the news, whether it's true or not. Everybody talking about fake news. Well, whether the news is true or not, it can make a stock go up and down. Rumors can make a stock go up and down. Earnings reports. Remember when we bought these shares of this company that we now are owners in this company. So they have to report every quarter to us. What are they earning? What are the future products? What are their projections? So if their earnings are up or down, that could affect the price of the stock. Interest rates. You may hear, oh man, the Fed is getting ready to make an announcement on the interest rates. Well, whether that announcement drives the interest rates up or down could affect the stock price. Unemployment could affect whether stocks go up or down. All right. This webinar isn't meant to go, 2 and 3 and 5 levels deep. We're just giving you the surface level so you kind of get the general idea. But after this webinar, we'll know more than 90% of the people on the planet, because most people don't even know what time the stock market opens. So if we stopped at that slide, you're already ahead of most people. And then you have patterns and trends that can make a stock go up and down. All right. When you hear in the news, oh, the stock went up 300 points today, or went down, what they're talking about is their main indicator. And that main indicator is called the Dow Jones Industrial Average. And all the Dow is 30 large companies like Apple, Chevron, American Express, Coca-Cola. Just 30 companies, but they're huge companies. And they have a formula where they average them together, how they're performing. And if overall they're performing well, they say the stock market's going up by so many points. If it's not performing well, they say it's going down, because these huge companies can swing how the whole overall market is. They say 3 out of 4 companies kind of follow the overall market. So that's all they're talking about when they're talking about the Dow Jones. When they're talking about the market going up and down, is the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Now, I want you to be thinking to yourself right now, because most people say it's just too complicated. Is there anything thus far that I've said that is complicated? I just want you to think about that as we continue on. All right, let's keep moving on. This is the thing that blew my mind, too. When you think about a stock market, a stock can only do one of 3 things: go up, go down, or go sideways. That's it. It's not like it can go backwards. It can't, do all this. It can only do, one of these 3 things. All right. So when I saw that, I said, what's hard about that? So I got to learn to read these signals to help me, just kind of like driving a car in traffic. You read the signals, let you know, is a traffic jam coming? Should I get off here? Should I turn around and go back the other way? It's the same thing with the stock market. It really is. It's, what direction is this thing going to go? So a lot of people don't know that there is a secret, and I should say simple formula for making money in the stock market. And most people think it's this. See, I knew, oh man, JR, I knew we were doing so great. Everything you were saying was so simple. Now, man, I don't know that. I ain't learning that. And that's great, because you don't have to learn it. This is the real formula for making money in the stock market. And it's a simple formula. You take the number of shares that you own times the price movement. That's going to tell you your profit or loss. So let's look at this. Let's look at 2 examples. And I use these 2 examples to emphasize how people really don't know what they're talking about. So many times people will say, I was buying something in the store the other day, and this guy, I don't know, he must have seen a card I had or something, and he saw flip that stock and said, man, I want to learn the stock market, and somebody told me I should get, some such and such stock. And what do you think? I saw it went up today. Well, that's not the question. The question is, what is your formula? See, if you buy 1 share of stock and that stock goes up $1, 1 share times the price movement equals $1. So let's say that this particular stock he was talking about costs about $500 per share. So if you had $1,000, you can only get 2 shares, and it goes up, $1, even if it went up $20. 2 shares times $40. So it's the number of shares. Let's take the second example. A person buys 1,000 shares of stock and it moves $1. That's $1,000. You see? So you got to understand the formula first. Then you find the shares, the company and the stock to fit into your formula. Everybody's formula is different. You see? So you can't just say, just because, Uncle Joe said or my friend said. We hear this all the time. People come to me all the time. Jerry, what about this stock? You should get, hey, you got to know the formula. And my formula and what I'm looking to do may be different than yours. Got to understand this. Very important. Then people say, well, Jerry, how do you find these stocks? How do you find these stocks to flip and flip and hold? Well, we use something called stock screeners. All right. And these stock screeners, we put formulas into them. All right. We say, scan for this type of stock, at this type of price. And I have these different formulas that I put into the screener so that literally with a click of a button in a matter of a second, it'll, boom, pull up these stocks that meet my criteria. We even have a screener where you don't have to click anything. It just automatically populates by itself according to the formula that I put in there to find stocks that we want to flip. And so technology has just man, it's almost leveled. Not almost, it has leveled the playing field. We can do what the big boys on Wall Street do with the technology that's available to us. But you got to know how to do it. So the question becomes, why are more and more people across the country and really across the world looking to get into the stock market? Because they're tired of this. They're tired of having to get up and go sit on the Beltway in traffic. If you live in the D.C. area, you know you're going to be on that Beltway half an hour to an hour just to get to your job and sit in here. And, you know, after years and years of doing this, people are starting to say, you know what? I want the beach lifestyle. I want to sit on the beach and get me some passive income. And that's what the stock market offers. Now, let me throw something at you. I want you guys to stay with me because I said this is a little windy road. Stay with me, all right? Question I have for you is, why do walls have studs in them? All right, and people may not know what I'm talking about. This is a wall being built in a new house, and this is a stud. And notice, equal distance apart, they're studs. And by law, they have to have these, you know, every certain amount of inches. Why? Why can't you just have one stud, right? Well, the reason is because if one stud breaks, there's others there to support the broken one. There's no dependence on just one stud. All right. Multiple studs offer reinforcement. Now, if it makes sense to have, you know, more than one stud in a wall, doesn't it make sense to have more than one financial stud? But most people have one financial stud in their life, their job. And if that job stud breaks, their whole financial house collapses. Pandemonium, fear, stress, depression, agony, can't sleep, medical problems. One stud. So knowing this, we should have as many financial studs in our life as possible. But how do you manage all these studs? You know, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that, I'm trying to do the other. So how do you get these, what we call MSOI, multiple streams of income? Well, the great thing is flipping and holding stocks are great studs to have in your financial wall. All right, this is what the wealthy people do. And there's 7 things that are needed to get started in the stock market. I want you to pay close attention to these next 2 slides. Number 1, you got to have a laptop or a tablet or a smartphone. Most people already have that. Number 2, you got to have an internet connection. Most people already have that. Number 3, you got to get a broker, like we talked about before. Number 4, you got to get the software, the app. Number 5, you have to have money. Put it in an account, in your brokerage account, to buy the stocks. But if you had all of this and no education, it would be like having a car with keys, gas, insurance, and not knowing how to drive. It's not going to work. And you need a mentor and coach. These are the most important, because without these 2, this doesn't work. Again, like driving a car without there's a reason that you have to take a written test to get your driver's license and do so many hours with an in-person driving instructor if you want to be successful. And if you look at anything else where people have success, they go through the same thing. Get educated, practice, then do. Imagine if your surgeon told you he didn't, you know, get educated, never practice, but get on my surgical table. You know, I want to do certain. Nobody's doing that. Imagine if your pilot told you that. Nobody's getting on that plane. All right. Very important people understand that, and I emphasize this a lot. The quickest way to lose money in the stock market is focus on the money instead of focusing on education and your mentor and coach teaching you the right way. I'm going to say it again. The quickest way to lose money in the stock market is to focus on the money instead of focusing on this first. Education, practice, then do. Now, some people may say, yeah, you know, I don't know if you guys know this, but our brain, for whatever reason, is trained to be more negative than positive. So we go into this, you know, the power of what if is staggering. What if it doesn't work? What if it doesn't work? And we get into all of that. What if it doesn't work? What if it does work? How about that? What if it does work? What if, you know, you made an extra $125 a week flipping a stock? That's an extra $500 a month. Just an extra $125 a week, $250 a week, $500 a week, $1,000 a week, $2,000 a week, $3,000 a week. All right, what you know, from your computer at home or work or even on vacation. And I'm not promising or guaranteeing any of this. Remember, we don't do that. I don't even know how people do that. It's illegal to say, we guarantee. I'm talking about potential, learning the skill set of flipping stocks, holding stocks, you see. Now, when you look at adding something to your life, we got busy lives already. Now, JR, you said I need to have a business. I need to be an entrepreneur. Now you're saying I need to flip stocks. Well, here's the beautiful thing about the stock market, flipping and holding stocks. The 11 no's. No office is required. No employees are required. No hours of research. No limits on the amount of income you can make. No large amount of money to get started. No being stuck in a stock. You can get out of stock with a click of a button. No hiring and firing. No recruiting. No selling. No degree, certificate, or license. No long time to learn it, when being taught by the right person and the right team. No expensive equipment needed. And no boss. When I saw that and added all these other things up, I was like, I'm in, baby. I'm in. When my friend finally got me to cross over and I went to that seminar and I'm like, I'm all in, and I haven't gotten out since. So just to recap everything real quickly, we discussed a lot of things, 19 different points, cash flow quadrants, designing your life like a pizza. I'm not going to go through each and one of these. We discussed a lot. And we did it in about an hour's time. Let me see, we're up here right before the hour. And you're not going to learn everything in an hour. So for those who are interested in adding flipping stocks and investing as studs in their financial wall, I'd like to offer you a flip that stock and hold that stock membership. And what I want to do, I'm going to come out of this and I want to go to the website. And just kind of show you what's included in the membership. This is actually on the website. Okay. One of the things that people who know me know, I'm an organization fanatic and a systems fanatic. I can't stand disorganization. Got to have everything lined up. So here we got it lined up. We got short online classes, average video about 3 minutes. We do live training, Q&A, where we go into the stock market. And you can ask me any question. Ask me to demonstrate it for you, because we're going to show you how to set up a practice account, but you can do it live in the market. We're going to show you trading examples, Q&A, 6 steps for success. One of the most important things I'm going to show you, and I've never seen a stock market course to do this, I got a whole section on failure, what not to do before you do it. I'm going to teach you those, and if you do it, which most people are still going to do, 1 or 2 of them, we can show you how to fix it. Okay, we're going to show you how to create a game plan, just like driving your car. You don't go and get in your car, don't know where you're going. Before you go in these stocks, you got to know exactly what you're doing, just like I showed you in the live stock flip demo. We're going to show you how to find the right stocks to fit what you're trying to do. We're going to show you the proprietary stock calculator that I had built from ground up and had software designer build this out for me. We're going to show you how to track your results. We're going to show you, the days that the stock market is open and closed and things that are happening in the market. We're going to show you how to read the overall health of the market in literally 2 minutes or less. And I'm going to teach you how to use that trading software and get that trading software for free in this membership. Also, we have something called Profit Friday, where our members from all over the country tune in on Friday, and we are looking for stocks. Some people in their practice account, some people in their live account, and we're looking to help everybody get a profit. Then if some of you want one-on-one coaching, we have 2 programs. We have a one-on-one coaching program where I start off with you one-on-one, or when you have a group membership, like we're talking about now, you can just buy individual one-on-one courses. And you're also going to get access to my How I Quit My $100,000 a Year audiobook. Okay? Now let me go back here for a second. So we got a lot that's packed in this membership, and everything is organized, systematized, and numbered. So let me tell you about the packages that we have, because probably people are like, okay, how much is all this going to cost? So included in our special package, or what I like to call our freedom package, is our Flip That Stock membership, our Hold That Stock membership, and for the first 3 people who sign up tonight by midnight, all right, by midnight, I'm going to do a 30-minute one-on-one blast you coaching session. blast you right out the gate coaching session, okay? We're already extremely organized. This is just like icing on top of the icing on top of the icing. We're going to include that, and we're going to include a copy of my award-winning book. So the membership regular price is $29.97. Hold that stock membership is $4.97. 30-minute coaching session is $250 regularly, and then the book is $20. So what we're going to do is that's total $37.64. We take $1,000 off of this, $497 off of that, $250 off of that, $20 off of that. And so since you took the time to attend this webinar, all right, you're going to get a total savings of $1,767. So your total price is $19.97. Now, I know there are some people right now who are saying and thinking, that's kind of a lot. Yeah, man, I'm all excited. It's all in perspective. Let me show you something. Most of you, I'm sure, have heard of Jay-Z and Beyonce. And I've got a friend who bought tickets to go to their concert. This is what they paid. Beyonce and Jay-Z, $999 per ticket, plus tax, $2,562 for about 4 hours of entertainment that won't change their financial future. So when people say, 1990s, this is what we're doing. This is real life stuff right here. But let me take it a step further. I went and I Googled. I did it. Average cost to go to college. According to college, average cost of tuition at a college, $34,000. Okay, for private school, this is per year, $9,000, or just say $10,000 for public school. That's for 1 year. What if you go or your child goes for 1 year and then stops? Are they going to have a degree? Are they going to have a skill set? Nah. For your $19.97, you're getting a lifetime skill set. And let me tell you this as well while I'm talking about this, because I see all this all the time too, kind of like a pump and fake where I paid my $19.97. Okay, now I got this course. Now, if you really want to learn how to flip stocks, you got to go to the next level. That's $5,000 to $10,000. And then if you really want to, that's $25,000 to $100,000. Folks, that's the real deal is what's going out here. With our $19.97, you get the whole thing. There is no, upsell. Like if you really want to learn how we're doing this, then you got to pay. No. $19.97 is all inclusive, my whole system, 1 year program, okay? Online and twice a week, we're going live in the market. Now, our special package or freedom package number 2, some people may say, hey, I want to start off with hold that stock, all right? That's regular $497. The book is $20. So regularly $517. We'll take $100 off there, take that off, and you'll get it all for $397 today. Now, if you get the Flip That Stock package, we're going to include the Hold That Stock and all this with it. So it is the best bang for your buck because you're going to get it all included in there, all right? But these are the 2 packages, okay? Now, some of you might be thinking, man, this is so great. I'm so fired up. This is great information. I'll just do it myself. Cool. Let me help you out. Just go to Google and type in how to invest in stocks. And please email me which one of the 161 million websites you're going to start with. Or how to trade stocks. That's even better, 431 million. Or YouTube, how to trade stocks, 5 million. How to invest in stocks, 3 million. There's good and bad news with the stock market. There's some really good and bad stuff out here. And there's so many courses, so many techniques, so many strategies, so many something. The reason that you're on this call is either you got an email or a friend referred you or somehow you heard about us. And we have a reputation of excellence. I'm going to toot my own horn. I put my course up against anybody. I take pride in what I do. We spent countless hours putting this together and well over $100,000 of my own personal money investing into building this company. And I used to coach basketball, and we went undefeated and won the championship. So what does that got to do with anything? Because everybody who joins Flip That Stock is like a member on my team. I take pride in teaching how I teach. And again, without tooting my own horn, I'm good at it, and my staff is good at it. And we are growing and growing, and you'll hear a little bit more about that. So you can go it alone if you want to, but here's the deal. You're going to pay either way. You're going to pay probably through mistakes, headaches, frustration, and losing money and not knowing what you're doing. Or you can pay a small amount, which really is a small amount compared to other courses. And you can pay for education and learning from someone who has done it, doing it, and teaches you step by step. Had a new member at a seminar I did a couple of weeks ago, and she stood up and gave a testimony. She said, that 1997, folks, let me tell you, I just came from another seminar. They're charging 4 times what JR's charging. And I know they are because I've been to their seminars. Matter of fact, they tried to recruit me and get me to promote their company. I'm like, nah, not doing that. But that's a whole other story. So the question becomes, do you want to get in the I quadrant at a discount or not? And I'll leave you guys with this. Most of you have probably seen this statue, the thinker, the thinking man. Unfortunately, they didn't show you the whole picture. You see how the picture is cut off here? Because you got the thinker and you got the doer. If you come back a year later, 2 years later, 5 years later, this guy is still here. His life ain't changed, hunched back, looking depressed. The doer moves so fast, footprints gone. So you got to decide, which are you? What are you looking for in your life? You're on this webinar for a reason, okay? Remember I said, why did you attend this webinar today? You're looking for something. And years back, I was looking for something too, just like you. And the reason I love flipping and holding stock, because I love freedom and lifestyle. And this gives me the ability to do what I want, when I want, with no limitations. I love it. I love flipping. I love holding stocks. I love teaching. I love coaching. It's been a life changer. It's been a life changer. And so hopefully this is something that has educated you tonight on something that may be able to change your life. Here's the thing. I didn't want to spend my life doing this. This is a real life picture and video. You go to Facebook me and you can just look this up. While I was coming home from taking my daughter to work, not to work, but to high school. And I got to pass all this traffic and go home. And I know 87% of these people getting on this backed up beltway. The beltway's way up here. 87% of them either hate their job, have no passion, no interest, miserable. And if they stop paying them, they'll stop coming. And then when they get to the job, a lot of them are like this. I saw this picture. I was like, wow. That's how a lot of people talk to me, say this is how they feel. You know, I wanted to design my life like this, where I'm flying on planes, looking out at the clouds and taking pictures, staying at resorts, you know, traveling to Santa Barbara and looking from a resort and seeing cruise liners go by. And then, you know, when I'm home overlooking my pool with my laptop here and some tea and a little Bluetooth music playing. So you've seen the packages. You know, you got Freedom Package number 1, $19.97. For the first 3 members, by midnight tonight, you're going to get this included. Freedom Package number 2, $3.97. And then you become a member of what we call Club 1000. Folks, we are starting and have started a national movement to teach 1,000 people by the end of 2018 how the stock market works and how to become active traders and investors. And we got so many surprises lined up. People who already Flip That Stock members know I'm constantly adding to the membership. And I ain't charging nothing extra. I just get excited about doing it and helping and teaching people. So we got so many surprises. I'm not even going to. We'll be here another hour, and we're not ready to tell them yet. But you become a member of the 1,000 Club. So here's some of the things that people are saying. We're up on an hour. I don't want to spend a lot more time, you know, going into this. But this is one in particular where the guy, you know, sent an email, and he just said he had gone to a conference I speak at, and he talks about the benefits, one of which was J.R. Fenwick's session on flipping stocks. The session alone was worth it for me, coming to the whole conference. All right. I've always had an interest in learning about the stock market outside of being a long-term investor. J.R. opened my eyes to how money can be made quickly in the stock market. Immediately after the session ended, I decided to buy J.R.'s package. For me, it was a no-brainer. If he could demystify the art of buying and selling stocks, it would be well worth the investment. Prior to signing up for Flip That Stock, my knowledge of the stock market was limited to buying long and holding. Now I'm a day trader and making money most days with the stock market. His learning modules took the sophistication out of how to make money in the stock market and provided the basics on how to read charts, how to make trades, how to limit your losses. In addition, his learning modules, I have received personal coaching from JR, which has further built my confidence that I can really be successful buying and selling stocks. I've learned a valuable lesson that I can now pass on to my children, which will change generations to come. If I hadn't gone to this, if I hadn't taken the time to go to the session, I would still be where I am, stock market wise knowledge, prior to going to this conference. The program has changed my life for the better. So I get these type of emails, all the time. Here's Rod. He and his wife are out of California. If you're interested in learning, JR is the absolute best. And I'm just showing you this is the real deal. Again, sometimes you feel like you're tooting your own horn, but it's the real deal. Here, this is, go back here. A gentleman made $1,300. First, he made $289, then made $1,300, and he got our program. Here, some of you may know Willie Jolly, and this is Michael Collier. He came out to an event that I had with friends and said he was going to stay. He said he was going to stay 5 minutes in my seminar. Ended up staying the whole time and lost his mind. So, if you're a doer, right now, if you're a doer, you can go to flipthatstock.com. You're going to click on the Become a Member button. All right? It'll ask you to fill this in. Once you fill that in, let me go here because we're running a little over time. I want to show you this. Once you go to Flip That Stock and you click on Become a Member, okay, then it's going to take you to this page. And you scroll down this page, read the information, but here's the most important part. After you've read the information, you're going to put in this code right now. For those who are ready to go right now, and you click that, that's going to give you your $1,000 discount right now. Again, you go to Flip That Stock, click on Become a Member. It's going to take you to this page. You come here, you type in right now. For those who say, hey, I want to get a Hold That Stock membership, you go to holdthatstock.com. You'll come down here. You'll type in 100. Click that, and it'll take $100 off. All right, so with that said, we've covered quite a bit, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up for questions. So everybody just hold on one sec.